What you tell Bernard you go take plenty notes stamp for it.
No, I do it.
I did do show 9 years. I get it.
Right, so be the greatest and be the best in your field. You know, it is said that the good life is one inspired by love and guided by knowledge. Bertrand Russell said this many years ago, and of course it's apt. Well captured. The good life is one that is inspired by love and guided by knowledge. Good evening and most welcome to your #1 personality profile. Show certainly on radio, and of course it's on Star 103.5 FM. This evening we're celebrating a man who needs no introduction, if you ask me. I mean, he's actually cut his teeth when it comes to the media space and what he's doing. You have listened to him, seen, and even appreciated his works in different forms. Right from school, he jumped onto his passion. And today, he's an inspiration of possibility. An example of how young people can use their talent to influence society. And I'll just tell him about a book that I read way back, you know, by Dr. Yao Pebi. And we'll get some excerpts from that book as well. But ladies and gentlemen, my guest tonight did almost all his schooling in Accra. Yes. Started off from University of Ghana Primary School, that's in Legon. Went to Presbyterian Boys Senior High School, Presec. Well, he's saying sharp to me already, for his secondary education. And then got admission to the University of Ghana, Legon, where he obtained a Bachelor of Arts degree in economics. Was it the first class for you, Bernard?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we're engaging a first class student right here, and like I said, I have some dose here on him. So tonight we'll just unleash it. And he's a Chevron scholar as well. Okay, so out there to obtain his MBA in marketing. So now you understand why the branding is key for him, and a lot that he's doing. The morning show host of City FM right here in Accra, and he's the CBS. A few weeks ago, my guest was adjudged the Journalist of the Year, and rightly so, 2017, by the GJA, that's the Ghana Journalists Association. Tonight, welcoming on to StarrChat and on Star FM, also live in Kumasi on Ultimate FM. We're live in Takrady on Empire FM, live in the Volta region, yes, on Cool 103.5 FM, and live around the world on StarFMOnline.com. Our guest is Bernardino Koku Avle. Dogby, welcome.
Bola.
Man like Avle, how are you?
Bola.
Yes, boss. How are you doing?
You are a big man.
No, you are. And we're celebrating you. Congratulations are in order, Bernard Avle.
Thank you, Bola.
Wow. It's been a long journey, and long in coming.
Yeah.
But you know, your award is one that was widely celebrated, and like I said, rightly so. It was just, you know, it was everywhere. And for many, they thought it should have come earlier. Do you have the same feeling as well? Because I quite remember, was it in 2004 or 5 when you hit the radio? And before that on Radio Universe, you paid your dues. 14 years with CDFM, is that it or more?
Yes, please.
14?
Yes, please.
Hosting the morning show.
I tell you.
I'll get into some stories as we come along, but tell me, how's it feeling like being the reigning Journalist of the Year?
You know, because of all the ways people are asking me to talk about it and the way people are excited, so I didn't really know it was that big. I didn't know it was such...
Really?
Seriously, I mean, but you know, the format of radio we do, it's very difficult to get one person within our organization stand out because it's a team type of thing. And our radio format is not like you typically pursue one story and write a long script or do a special feature. We follow courses. We do accountability radio. We are scorekeepers. We are gatekeepers. So we try to work as a team.
Right.
So that's why I wasn't expecting the award. I wasn't thinking that 20 this I'm going to win this award. No, that wasn't what I was.
And this is for real. This is real talk from the bottom of the heart. You thought you didn't actually stand out.
You know, because of all the, you see, when we entered the market in 2004, the way people perceive what we were doing and the difference we tried to make. So we knew that establishment would not accept us readily at the beginning. And so what we wanted to do was to get listeners to love us, not establishment. Because establishment has different aspects. There's business interests, there's political interests, who have their own views about who has to have influence and who has to have power. But we knew that if people insisted on listening to us, so we used the pull strategy. People would say, if you're not listening to City or you're not listening to Bernard, what are you doing? So that was our approach. So for us, our best award would be people's insistence on listening to us, not on somebody.
Was it long in coming? And at the point, did you actually get frustrated? Or, you know, people would say to you, so 5 years, and at the time you were going against big names. Yes, Sefakai was there. Komla Dumo, at the point you had to actually, you know, take him on in the morning space. How was that like? You know, Bernard, walk us through.
When you start, you try to play by the rules, because nobody comes and redefines the rules. Wherever you go, whether you're an athlete or you are into media or you are into politics, you enter by playing by the rules. Now, you then gain legitimacy to redefine the rules by your excellence and your consistency. So the rules, when we came in, meant that you needed a stronger, larger than life personality. You needed a Komla, you needed a Kwame, you needed a Bola who had charisma, who would, he was the monarch of all he surveyed, right?
The real deal.
Yeah, but my personality is not couched, and my radio format is not couched around one strong person. It's couched around the team ethic, and it's also not just the power of the personality, but the strength of the question.
Was that a strategy of the station, or you as a person, it was part of your game plan?
I can't say I have a personal strategy. I was made by the station. The station created a program that brought out my strength, because you can't walk into a radio station and say, do a show based on what I can do. So it was Samens and the team, Samens and Paul in particular.
That's Paul Aduboche.
Yes.
Okay.
Paulus, who sort of said, you know what, we have to craft this in this way, because they analyzed my personality, they looked at the market, and they realized what I could do, what the market was missing. So I was guided and mentored throughout the whole process.
Were you at any point scared? I mean, were you afraid? You said, well, this is a tough terrain that you guys are throwing, you know, a tiny guy like me, you what, 24 at the time or what?
Yeah, the thing is that when we grow old, we are too worried. When you are young, you fear nothing.
I like that.
And you worked at Universe before. I remember I listened to you. There was when I was actually, before I got to Legon, I listened to an election. Incidentally, that election, Paul lost the election.
Yes.
And they called you.
Luke's president. He was vying for,
yeah. The host called you, and they said, we will go to Legon Hall and check if Legon Hall will vote for their own.
Oh, memories.
And they crossed to Andrew Adisi or something.
Yes. Nat Adisi, yes.
And then you said, Legon Hall this year said they will go for their own. And then they will vote for some guy called Ajay Domson. I was listening to a radio in my house in Medina.
Wow.
So this was, 99.
Sharp boy, sure. 99, correct.
So you did that report, and I was listening, right? So my point is, you enter Universe, and you know the training we get from Alaji and Sankara.
That's correct.
So you are trained properly to write, to question, to understand that media is not about money. It's about working in the public interest. So if they throw you at the deep end at 23, 24, when you are young, you don't feel anything.
Your first day on radio, walk us through that, Bernard.
Oh,
today, share it with us here on radio. How was it like for you?
You have to, in what way? Because I've gone to first day on radio. So I'll give you an example. When I was in level 100 first semester,
right,
I was reading a radio drama for Maximus on a program called Open Air Theatre. But before God and Man, I had no vision of being a radio presenter. I was just going to read a script. So there was this show they did on Sunday evenings where I would go and act out a radio drama. So my first day on radio was probably that. But I didn't.
First day as a newscaster, as a radio programming person at Radio Universe also.
Good. So this was a holiday, and everybody who was useful had left. So Sankara said, "Okay, today there's nobody to read the announcement." So Universe used to write the news on this long brown sheet of paper. Fantastic. So he gives me a couple of sheets and says, "Read to me and let me hear." He's sitting in Alaji's outer office, and I read. He says, "I think you are ready to go." It was a holiday. So I just went and I read the announcement. And he says, "I think you're okay." But of course, before that, I had gone on Weekend Teaser, which was hosted by DJ Black, and I had lost the debate. That was when he decided that he wanted to recruit me. But I was there as a guest to debate. And I lost the debate and got the job. But the point is, my first proper day on radio was this holiday. It was a nebulous day. Sankara calls me and gives me a sheet to read to him. And when I read it, he says, "I think you are ready to go on air." And I go and read the announcements around 11 o'clock on the holiday. There was nobody else there. I don't know if anybody even listened, but that was I still remember that day.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember.
Wow. So for you, I mean, economics and media or radio, really, what's the correlation now? I mean, bright students, you're out there, you know, getting your demand and supply curves, getting things done, looking at micro and macro economics, and then radio.
You see, every era and the kind of journalist that is required. And in the year 1995, when the airways were liberalized, we needed a certain kind of journalist. That spawned the Kwame Sefakais, the Communal Dumos. Before that, we had the
Kweku Sechiados,
the Kweku Bakuns. So that era demanded that kind of journalist. Now, I entered university in 2000 and studied economics for 4 years. City FM starts in 2004. So in the era that I was ready, there was the platform that required that kind of journalist. So a lot of this is also providence. A lot of this is the way the economy has been fashioned. If somebody hadn't, if Nikamate hadn't started a radio station at the time, I probably would have been lecturing in some university studying economics. So I am a product of many things: divine providence, somebody's business acumen, some mentors' recognition of who I was, people's support of me. It's a mix, a confluence of many things that have created me. So it's not so much as an economist guy wanted to do radio, because it's almost like, why are you doing radio? No, the time requires it. And I'm telling you this, in the next 10 years, you're going to have some of the smartest people enter media, because the power of the media is growing, and we are in an information era. So social media and all the media we have now, some of the guys we hire, we have graphic designers, we have programmers.
That's right.
In the past, they didn't think radio or media was a good business.
Good business.
But then you are your media.
That's right. Yes.
You are hiring more techies now. So the time is important, the era is important. Then you have the entrepreneurship, the vision. Then you have the people who will mentor you, and then you have the team around you, and of course your own personal determination to do it. So it's a mix of things that created me. It wasn't just my decision to do radio because I think it's some great thing and economics is not. No, that's not what it is.
So getting into it, and of course we'll come and talk about CDFM, but let's talk about your discovery. I mean, getting onto CDFM and for you to host the morning show. That's the flagship of the station.
Yeah.
So how did it start for you? How did Sabelis get to meet you? What was it? Were you?
Well, so there are a couple of things. When I was in Legon, I had a mentor who I believe is still my mentor, a good friend, Mac Diamond. One of the most brilliant minds you have. He's a great MC, fantastic lawyer, sings well, writes fantastic stuff. So he was essentially, I was in F27 and he was in F7, and we're in LPU together. So he used to, I mean, he had an inner room. So if he's out of the room, I go and study there. So sometimes he cooks and I eat. He sort of helps me around, and we're in the same LPU church. So he...
Which hall?
Okay.
No, you need to establish that.
Of course, I mean,
don't just mention F and just leave it at that. Batum, yes. To whom much is given,
much is expected.
Thank you.
Know it. So Diamond had left Lagos.
The Vandals will not be happy.
2002.
That's fine.
If they don't take everything, they are hot to mix. And I finish. Can you delete that?
No problem.
So Diamond leaves Legon, and he's sort of doing different things at Sunny FM, and then he's with Samens, and they are planning to start City. And Samens' plan was that he was going to work with only fresh people. So the first batch of people he recruited were people who had finished Legon a year before. Clement Akapam, Nanateria Ocho, Albert Koshiga.
That was the strategy.
And so I was about to write my exams when Samens calls me in March 2004. So I was a national service person. I was the first batch. So the plan was to use untested, young, brilliant people who wanted to learn to be part of something great. So they created a media house that would focus on the intellectual, the power of your intellect. Okay, a story is not just about gossipy, choking type things, but it's also about taking people on in a way that you have a stronger argument, in a sense. You can track the issues, you can follow up with more profound ideas. So that was the kind of thing they created. So
was that a big gamble? I mean, many would also to look at monetizing stuff, and we all know radio, they look at the bottom line. So they say, okay, audience share, revenue, two basic stuff. So for you, maybe 5 years and still struggling and trying to get out there and be recognized. Were you at a point bothered, or did it come up in meetings?
You see, if you throw a boomerang and it comes back in 2 seconds, it didn't go very far. If you throw a boomerang and it comes back in 10 hours, it means it went very far. Or another analogy, if you want to grow a tall tree, you must have a deeper root. Because we knew we were building something that would have to dominate, we knew that the first few years would be difficult. But if you poach somebody who you paid 3 times what his station was paying him, number one, you've introduced him to the business on the basis of money, and you've told him that if somebody gives him more, he would leave. But if you want to build a strong organization which has the culture, which has the right culture, then you need people you can cultivate and grow.
Is a system based on personalities as well? I mean, and this is general, that people will say, okay, I want to listen to this person. I want to. Are the people also, the consumers or the listeners in this ride, ready for people to also go through the mail? I know that there might be, you know, times that people will tell you, oh, so who is this small boy sitting on a CDFM in the morning, want to listen to this person? Did I get you?
No, you see, the thing about radio is that you definitely need personality. But my point is that you don't buy the personality, you grow the personality, right? Because if the personalities are for sale, then somebody with a deeper pocket will take your personality from you. So that's a very weak strategy.
Does loyalty come in there?
My point is that if you cultivate the people and they understand what you are trying to do, and they understand the vision, and the brand becomes part of them, then it's more difficult to poach them. And then you also don't spend all your money paying 10 times the salary somebody else will pay, and you spend the money to equip them in their minds and how they do their work. So my point is that yes, you need strong personalities, but the personalities have to be cultivated, and it's a deliberate strategy,
right?
Because that entry strategy is more difficult to replicate. A strategy that is based on simply paying people more money is a very weak strategy, because tomorrow morning somebody can bring money and take that person from you. But if the person is part of something you've built, so what you do is you let them believe in a dream, which is the genius of Samens. So when somebody enters the newsroom, he understands that he's part of a big team. We are making history. We are coming to append the market leader and create something that's never been created before. So last week when we did our anniversary, all of the first guys, they all joined. Okay. They are happy to be part of what is happening there.
So it's a family that you create. So although they will leave at a point,
you can't keep all of them there.
You can't keep all of them.
Because if you want to hire smart people cannot be kept forever at a place. They want to go and do law, and we don't have a problem with that. If somebody wants to use radio to develop his media career and go and do law, we encourage that. But some will stay, some will go.
Do you see that as a point? Many I've interviewed people and I've worked with people that say, oh, I want to use this as a stepping stone. Maybe after a year, go back to law school or go back into business. I want to do something else. Another opportunity is knocking. Should that be a problem?
You see, when you build a team, it's like you are sowing seeds. There are different kinds of seeds. Some will take longer time to blossom, but they will become deeper trees. Some will blossom early, give you good fruit, but in a year or two they are not there. The wisdom of the leadership is to have a blend of different kinds of people, right? So in our team, there are guys like Kelly Delata who did only a year, made great impact. He's now a law lecturer, right? Koshiga and Co is a great lawyer, all these guys. But some stayed, like Bernard, Richard Mensa. They've stayed for 15 years. So my point is the guys who set up the station, they understood that they had to have a blend of different talents.
So a mix of everything.
Exactly, because there are some who want to do only radio. Some want to do banking. Some want to do law. Some want to leave and go to America and hustle. You have all of them in the mix at the beginning. So your job as a leader is to blend it such that 20 years down the line, whoever comes or goes, there's a culture that is maintained that still drives excellence.
Interesting thoughts, and of course, and that's why you've been able to be around. You just celebrated 14 years, you know, being in the business. But in all of this, let's talk about progress from there. At what point did you say, well, I think I have, maybe, I wouldn't say control, but really the modern space is mine and I'm going for it.
Okay, so I think there are a couple of two interesting transitions. We started in 2004 and it was very difficult, as you've said already. In 2007, we won a very interesting award. So the BBC, for some reason, decided to do what they call the Africa Radio Awards. And they were rewarding excellence in radio because it was some sort of anniversary. It's a one-in-a-lifetime thing. So Komla encouraged us to enter, because Komla at the time was in BBC. So Joy entered, City entered, and a few other stations entered.
Komla Dumo
encouraged City to enter, yes. Vera Kwakufi, Bola, Mosuro. They came to Ghana and said the Ghana radio market is vibrant. CTFM was only 3 years old, but they thought our programs were good. So we entered and we won the West Africa Award. And then on the African continent, the show that this 24, 25-year-old guy was hosting was adjudged the top interactive show of the year, competing against South African stations, Kenyan stations and stuff. So that was the first sort of admission that, look, you may not have as many listeners in Ghana as you think you deserve, but the BBC, which is one of the market leaders, and their panel of judges think that your programming content is quality enough to win this continental award. So that was for me a very important.
Did that change the dynamics? It had to catapult you into, and of course, the way you viewed things on it.
It just reinforced our business model, but it also tested our patience, because even though somebody on the continent has recognized you globally. In Ghana, you are still growing. You need to earn. You see, you can't say, hey, Ghana, I've won an award. Listen to me. It doesn't work like that. You have to be relevant and you have to earn it. So you have won an award at BBC. Great stuff. Okay, but let's come back home. What are you offering? So we had to sort of grow into that award. And then, of course, in around 2011, we changed the format a bit again. It's been a journey of innovation.
And of course, growth and development, if you ask me. But share with us some of the initial challenges that you encountered as a morning show host. You mentioned that, yes, you had to change programming, also adapt to, the dynamics. But some of the initial challenges were?
Look, a lot of people told Samens that he didn't know what he was doing. Why are you putting this guy on air? Because he's not funny, he doesn't have a strong personality, his voice is even not broken, he hasn't even broken his voice, right? And he's too skinny, and he's some way, the show is dry. So dry, John. So they told him that, look, you are just wasting your time. So they needed to be patient with me to find my level. So a lot of the feedback they were getting, they're not even telling me. In fact, recently I interviewed Paul and Samens, and Paul said to me, there were articles written about me that they hid from me because they realized that if they show it to me, they thought it would break
you down.
Yeah, so, and I mean, there were days you are on air, but you know that the real game is on a different station.
Wow.
Right? Because sometimes it's the personality that attracts the interview. Okay, so I know there was a huge scandal in Komla was interviewing Komla in Japan, and we're all listening to Komla that day because he was the only person who got a guy because it was on major Matabi. And you have to, I mean, what will you do? The point is that, you see, you have to admit that credibility is earned through consistent excellence. And the fact that somebody is good doesn't mean you shouldn't listen to him and acknowledge him. So I can't say because I am on City, if Komla is doing a good program, I shouldn't listen. No, I will listen and learn from it. But when we get our turn, we also perform. So there were a lot of, but I guess...
Did you get frustrated, demoralized, depressed at a point?
You see, that's why I say it's very good to be young. A lot of the things we call frustrations, because when we are older, we tell ourselves a lot of things. But ignorance can be bliss, all right? I didn't have a lot of... I mean, one of my biggest challenges was my social circles. They will say to you, morning show host needs to be out there. When they do the discussion, Charlie, you every day you are so more. Then you go to do.
So you go to church. You
don't have
social life.
You don't go club, nothing. Nobody knows you.
You
go
be
out
boring
there
personality.
and but I think that, you see, for me, I still go back to Samens and Paul. They said, look, this guy, this is not how he is.
So don't change him.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, but there were times actually the thing was very painful. It's like, you cry, you go close work, no, you go here, you are not, you are not out there. People don't know you, and they want to build your brand. And we also didn't believe in go and do a big billboard. See, we wanted, they wanted my credibility to be organic.
Okay. Grow organically.
Yes. If you overhype me, I can't stand the people that you bring into my life, because a lot of people are overexposed but underdeveloped. That's the celebrity culture we have. The fact that I have 30,000 followers on Twitter doesn't mean
you are deep enough to carry some. Okay.
It doesn't mean that if 30,000 people retweet my comment, doesn't make me 30,000 times more influential. You get me? So we have a lot of people who are overexposed but underdeveloped mentally and emotionally. And I think that what helped me was that the people who were leaders at City didn't overexpose me.
Right.
So now, if I have 219,000 followers on Twitter, at least when I tweet something, it makes a bit more sense. So for me, that was the strategy.
So 14 years, you've been patient enough to wait for this, you have to wait your time. Should this have come earlier? Like some people have said, oh, maybe I thought it was 2011 or 2012.
I'll say something which will shock you. Even if it never came, it wouldn't change anything.
Wow.
And it shouldn't change much. Probably it's gotten me an interview here, which is great. But I'm telling you that we don't live for awards, we live for impact. And the thing on media is that people will remember you.
That's right.
Imagine if we never give Komla an award. He will still be the best. Do you get my point? Kweku Sechiado's reportage, when I listened to him on the BBC, I mean, unbelievable. It was later I learned he won an award. David Ampoff.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he had won the Journalist of the Year before. Excellence speaks for itself. So awards come and endorse it. It shouldn't define it. So if I didn't win this, and well, I'm very honest.
You still, yeah, and I like that. I can see that
because you don't
from
need,
your eyes.
I mean, you don't need
to validate you.
No, you are validated by the audience. You are validated by the impact. You are
Does that
validated
give
by
you
the change.
fulfillment? So this becomes the top up then.
Yeah, because if you push a cause and it becomes a national agenda, of course that's powerful. That's media at its best.
Did Komla do more pave the way? I mean, from radio perspective, that's what I'm talking. Because after Komla, pure radio person, then Kwame Sepakai, then you. Because we all know what went, on with Komla's win and all of that. He wasn't a thoroughbred journalist. Do you get that, you know, or you think that people have actually, embraced?
I actually think we look for stories when there's none, because even the Komla issue and the way it's been made such a big issue, the truth is that journalism is broad, and there's differences in journalism now, right? The definition of journalism for me is a discipline of verification. Whether you use an interview, a feature, an investigative report, journalism is a discipline of verification of information. Journalism is not talking, it's not just writing. So what makes us different from ring announcers is that we are trained to verify information and put it out, right? That's why you went and read about me.
That's right.
You confirm things and put it out. You are doing journalism. You are not just doing stardom. So my point is, when people say, oh, Komla shouldn't have, it's all because we've narrowly defined it. The industry has grown, it's become bigger. Media is the fourth estate of the realm. It's grown in influence, and there are many places to it. So we look for needless arguments. Is he a journalist? Is he a presenter?
You think that is highly misplaced, right? And really uncalled for. I mean, for people coming through and making all sorts of noise.
Let's focus on our key job. We have 3 roles. We are gatekeepers, we are watchdogs, we are scorekeepers. Gatekeeper, determine what is important. Of all the thousands of things happening, tell them the top 5. Watchdog, expose wrong and let people who don't have a voice be given a voice. Scorekeeper, track what they say. They say they'll make Accra the cleanest city in 2 years. Follow through, ask questions. That's our job.
Period.
The rest is smoke screens and additions. That's the fundamental job of a journalist. Whether you're using a radio, whether you're tweeting, I look forward to a day somebody who's an online journalist win Journalist of the Year. Citizen journalists should be able to win it. Investigative reporters should be able to win it. It should even be freelancers.
Let's open it up.
George Sidney Abugri.
That's right.
I used to read his articles.
Yes.
That year he won it. Nobody could argue. So we shouldn't define it on the basis of just whether you went to GJA and whether you are called a professional member.
Yes.
Because the world is changing so fast that if we don't sort of open up to that change and we restrict ourselves to this very narrow definition of journalism, we are just kicking ourselves in the foot.
Wow, being boxing and all. Okay, so what was your worst experience?
I don't know. Bola, you see, there's
anything someone said to you or did to you. Come on, you should have one.
I try to be selectively. I have selective amnesia because you see, if you remember those, it will just drain you.
I know.
There are so many.
But there should be that one interview or that one personality that you had a banter with, or maybe you.
Oh no!
Really?
Is it because there's so many?
I had one with Osafu Mafu that you.
No, that wasn't too bad.
That wasn't too bad.
I had a lot of bad interviews.
Like which one?
I don't even know why you want me to mention.
No, because I mean the youth, people are listening to us. They feel that okay, we are all good and well, everything is cozy for us. But there's that moment.
Let me be a bit philosophical. Sometimes, and when you overemphasize on bad experiences, you give them too much space. They came, you learned from it, you moved on.
So like who? Who did you interview for? Well, I've had a bad day, but you moved on from that.
Even last 3 weeks, I did an interview. It wasn't that good, right?
I
think who was it? Was it one of these politicians on regional redistribution something? I wasn't happy with the interview. My point is that you cannot be perfect all the time, and I do interviews that I realize I could have done a better job, asked a better question. So I don't want to give somebody a headline. You are my worst interview or my best. It doesn't work like that.
Who's giving you a very tough time? I mean, yes, you're trying to get things or extract some information, and the person was just being dodgy about it. Who?
A lot of politicians, when I was younger, it was difficult to get through to them because I didn't know. I hadn't been skilled in knowing how to extract information, knowing how to triangulate. So initially, you ask the question, he doesn't answer, you keep pushing, and it gives an argument, and it's not nice. But when you mature, you learn how to sort of relax and extract information in a more clever, skillful way. So my point is that the thing about radio is that you are learning every day. And it's not like you're writing, because everybody is listening to you, your mistakes, everybody knows. So you can ask my listeners, which was my worst interview, they'll tell you, based on how they saw it.
Wow.
Yeah, so I can't have a worst necessarily or a best because it's such a qualitative thing. So you can't rank it ordinarily. It's nuanced. So it depends on the context and how people felt. In fact, you could say my worst interview could be something somebody thought I liked it. So it's a very
it's relative. You cannot really see that.
Very complicated.
Very complicated to answer.
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll talk about the budget because tomorrow is budget day and all of that. What do you expect from the budget? And yes.
Are you sure you want to know that?
Yeah, why not? What are your expectations? Let's get into that.
The budget. You know, I think there are a couple of things. The way we've covered the economy as journalists has not been good. So we, for example, the language of the budget is very difficult to appreciate, right? Fiscal deficit, structural rigidities, macroeconomic stability, all these things which a lot of people don't understand. The thing about budget is that it's revenue, expenditure, and for Ghana, debt. Where are we raising our money to fund our development? Is it domestic revenue? Is it foreign aid? Or is it net exports? What are we spending the money for? Recurrent expenditure? Capital expenditure? Are we spending it on salaries, or we are investing in education? Those are the key questions. And how are we managing debt? What are we leaving for our children? Those are the fundamental questions. So of all the numbers, 265 million, so Ghana's GDP, 265 billion Ghana cedis. Nice numbers. Inflation, 9.5%. Capital deficit, for what do you call it?
Are we breaking it down for
my
the
point, my point is that we just want to know what government has put in place to raise enough revenue to manage it sensibly for today and the future.
Are we doing it right?
It's a big question. It depends on, for example, how much is it allocating. So I'll give you a good way of looking at budget. So ask yourself, of all the expenditure so for example, as at May 2018, our expenditure target for 2018 was 62 billion cedis and our revenue of 51 billion. It means that we are spending 11 billion more than we are raising.
Right.
Now that 62 billion, what is he using it for? Is he just using it to do leap, to pay school fees and salaries of workers?
But they give us the breakdown, so we the journalists are also not maybe disseminated or taking it out there.
Give me 2 seconds.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm saying that, I'm giving you a framework for analyzing whether a budget is good or not. Of that 62 billion expenditure, what percentage of that money is he spending on capital expenditure?
Okay.
On investment into new companies, into roads, into bridges? And how much of that is he spending on salaries of people? Do you understand me?
Right.
That's a good way of seeing whether this budget is going to address our long-term problems or not. Again, of all the expenditures he wants to spend, where is he getting the money from? Is he just borrowing? Or is he raising from domestic tax? Or is he exporting and getting it? Do you get my point? That's how you simplify a budget. A lot of the words we use don't mean a lot to many people. So what our job and what I try to do is to simplify the budget and ask simpler questions. Right? For example, free SHS. 900 million cedis was spent on it in the first year. People say, is it sustainable or not? That's a good question. How do we ensure that as many people as possible go to school and get good quality education?
Right.
And as many people who can contribute also contribute? These are the questions you should be asking. Let's simplify the budget. Let's ask relevant questions which are simpler. Then it will make more sense.
So Bernard, then whose role is it?
You and I.
Yes, of course, the journalist.
Yes.
But then from the government perspective as well, people say, oh, the Ministry of Information should break it down. Today, the Minister of Information, Kojo Paul Command, journalists. Clearly, looking at expectations and all of that, who should manage that for us?
It's all of us. They try. So sometimes they produce something called the citizens' budget, where they simplify the budget. Some of them even try to put it in local language. So those things are important. These outreaches to various, so they even do budget series.
Right.
So they will do different groups to meet different people. All those things are important because it then drills it down to the basics, the bare bones. So all these things are important. So for me, it's not just let's go and sit in parliament, shout, yeah, put out placards and do a few interviews with the politicians. No, let's discuss it and let's use the budget throughout the year. So even today, yesterday we covered a press conference where the Minister for Special Development said a few things. Right. We went back to the budget. Check what she said with that budget. Yeah. You get me? Road Minister said something. Go back to the budget. So it's also a reference material. It's not just for this week.
Are you happy with what has been done so far? Of course, maybe let's narrow it down still to the budget. In terms of prepping people up, getting them ready. You mentioned the budget series. Meeting up people to gather information. Are you satisfied with that so far?
Oh, we can always do better. And because we are in an information era, now it's easier to disseminate. So in the past, you have to get the physical budget. Now you can WhatsApp it. You can even do short infographics with the budget and share. You can have short voice clips of what the minister will say in 2-minute snippets. So my point is that it's easier to disseminate the budget, and I feel people who manage information in the country should embrace more the various tools available to disseminate information.
Right.
It's not just the press conference or the interview, but you can get, for example, the top 10 things Ken said, short voices, send it out. Somebody translates it, send it to the people in the rural communities. All these things will help. So I feel there's a lot more we can do to break down the budget.
Wonderful. Now let's get to meet you, growing up and all of that. Where were you born? Here, right here in Accra? Isa.
I'm an Accra boy. I was born in Accra.
Right.
In Lagos.
in Legon.
Yes.
And primary school, like I mentioned, was University of Ghana. Yeah.
Yes.
Tell us about it. Back then at University Primary.
So we lived in Medina. So University Primary had 3 groups. The people whose parents are lecturers on Legon campus and Kolebu campus. And then those who lived as, so they were the senior workers, lecturers and things. Those who lived in staff village with junior staff kids. And then there were those who also came in as private people. So we were the 3 groups. It was an interesting environment. So Medina is a very normal town to grow up in, playing football, chaskele and things. And then you go to University Primary with all the high standards of academia. But even the lecturers' kids were also very human. It wasn't like a school of dada bees.
Oh.
Right? So it was a school where reading was valued. The PTA was very involved. I was saying to somebody that the lady who presented my GJA award to me, Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, when we were in class 4, she came to speak to us about careers. Wow. In class 4. I still remember her speech. So
University of Primary.
Yes,
Primary.
Because her daughter is my mate.
Okay.
So the parents were very involved. So even though it was a public school, they trained us in different ways. We used to act plays, recite drama. We even had a debate, quizzes. So you come out of the school properly trained. We were very fortunate. And some of our teachers were very committed. Jordan Amate taught me in class 5. He taught me the times table, right? Some of my great teachers in primary school. These people really shaped us before we entered secondary school. So you appreciated knowledge. You loved reading. You learned how to write, learned how to speak.
So the foundation was good. It wasn't.
There are too many people to bless for where we are today.
Wow.
Our teachers in UPS.
Your favorite teacher will be who?
Oh, there are so many. My class 6 teacher, Mrs. Owusu Benoit, God will forever bless her. She was amazing.
When last did is she still around?
She's still around. And then there's also Mrs. Gia into me, class 4. Mark Jordan died recently. Class 3, Mrs. Mensah. In fact, I'll give a quick story. When I was in class 4, I wasn't doing well in my class. I was in class 4S. My teacher was so good. She called Mrs. France and said, I have some guys in my class who are not so good. So I want them to do remedial in your class. Because maybe it could be my teaching style. I'm telling you. So even though when I was in class 4, I was doing remedial class. They put me in another teacher's class to try to see if it was her approach.
So you've not always been a good student or that bright one,
I've never been a good student. From class 1 to GSS 3, the only time I collected prize was twice. Class 3 for being 8th in a class of about 45. Class 4 for good progress.
Really?
You can ask
so
my mates.
You were not like the first in class, maybe in class 3, class 4, and you have to sustain that.
You know, intelligence should be measured differently. Our educational system rewards a certain kind of intelligence, good memory, assertive in a certain way. There are people who are very creative, who will do big things but will never pass in class. So if people are not passing, it's an educational system that is failing them. It's not because they are not smart. So if you have kids who, there are some people who are good at certain things because the educational system tries to push you to write exams. Success in passing exams has no correlation with success in life, whether as a journalist, a footballer, or as an inventor of Apple computers. So what we need to do is for example, we focus too much on convergence education, right? Where choose the right answer out of wrong answers. What about creativity, right? If I ask you, how many things can you do with a microphone? Right. Some people can't tell you because they're not creative enough. Our educational system must balance convergence and divergence.
Whose responsibility should that be? The parent who says that, well, I'm just paying for you to be educated, to go to school, learn and all of that, or it should be the school?
It's society, because in schools that do well, parents are involved. Because you can't outsource the education of your children to teachers because they also have their families. So parents must get involved. PTAs must be strong because if PTAs are strong, they ask the right questions, they review lesson notes, and the school is on its toes.
Are you getting a feeling or semblance of that currently? Is that what is happening? What are you picking up?
In public education, the trouble is that a lot of poorer parents send their kids to public schools who have larger numbers. And because the parents have to make ends meet, they won't have time. A lot of wealthier parents send their kids to private schools. I'm talking basic now. And because they have more disposable income and more time, they can get engaged. For example, for a long time, the PTA chairman or chairman of this school, GIS, was Mr. Kwame Pini. Think about it. I interviewed the GIS headmistress. She's called a principal. The depth that woman spoke with, this was just 3 weeks ago, it tells you that for people who know the value of education, they will give it their best. But we are failing the poorer people because they don't have the time to mind it. And that's why you have a class of 70. Do you know that over 30% of our basic schools don't even have toilets? Did you know that? So somebody goes to primary school, doesn't even have toilets, he has to go to the toilet on a Bola. When he finishes eating, there's no running water. He has to clean his hand after the water on his shorts. Imagine a girl who's menstruating in such a school.
Pathetic.
You get me? So you have this, and then you have Christ the King, you have Morning Star.
You have Roman Reigns.
So our job is to highlight these things using. That's why I'm saying journalism is also tracking data. If 22,000 schools don't have toilets, if you meet the education minister, you know what to ask him.
Correct.
Okay? You don't say all about Manunko, and just talk and you open the phone lines. No. So my point is, there's a lot we can do in education, and we need, as media, to throw light on these things more so that they get results.
Interesting. With time reading some 13 minutes to 8, and I tell you what, we are trending on Twitter, and yes, for the right reasons, and lots of messages coming in. Nana Safu says, "Keep up the good work, Mr. Avle." Talking to Bola, my mentors right there in the studio. You guys have me glued to my set. Well, thank you, Nana Safu. And Royal James Aloski says, "Wow, an interesting interview. Don't want to miss out." Okay, said Asari say, "I am an ardent listener of the show. I really aspire to attain even more than what he's doing." Okay, or what he's done. All right, thank you very much, Seth Asari. Mark Rubin Hayden says, "Benakoku Avle, a great man indeed." Bola, thanks so much for celebrating him. And Haruna Gadu Yakubu says, "Remain humble and better things await you, Bernard, in a not too distant future." I want to know whether he has presidential ambitions. Okay, we'll get to that. And Chief Imam says, "Good evening, Bola." Wow, that's really my man. Bernard, thanks for celebrating him. Well, thank you too. Ishmael Niteku Tego says, "Great host and a great guest. Great guy indeed." All right, thank you. And Rubin says, "Credibility is earned through consistency or consistent excellence." Bernard Avle 2018. I like that.
Copyright.
Okay, it says, "Credibility is earned through consistent excellence."
Interesting.
Bernard Avle 2018. Okay, so that's it. Good interview, Bolare. Senior, you do all. And very nice interview with Bernard. I'd like to ask Bernard Avle that between NDC and MPP, which of them have assaulted journalists the more? Again, what's your stance on solid before reportage? That's from Sir Pempe in Presec, Legon. Bernard.
Charlie, which one should I answer?
Yeah, maybe the solid one.
Solid.
Yes.
You know, we have to be independent in the way we do our work, but there are times where people misunderstand the way we work. So if you call a journalist from Star FM to come to Aqua Safari to report a story on you doing something on MDGs, not many media houses can go at their own cost. So you need to understand that for certain kinds of programs, you need to support the journalists to get there. All right, but that does not mean then that determines what they write. There's a difference between PR and journalism. So a lot of the truth is that our job as media owners and managers is to pay people well enough not to depend on those coins from people to take transportation to where they work.
Yeah.
But the truth is that in covering a lot of stories which are useful, you expend a lot. You run a media house, car, petrol, all the things you do, transport costs, and all those things. So sometimes there are certain assignments that it stretches the newsrooms, and a lot of, in particular, newspaper reporters, it's a very difficult business because they don't get enough adverts and they have to be at different places. So it's something we should strive collectively to stop and end. That's what we should do.
All right. So you were talking about NDC MVP, which of them, you know?
I don't think the question is properly framed, and it's part of the. You see, this is very reductionist. The question should not be, pardon me, which of the two parties beats journalists more. The way he even brings the question is a problem.
That's from Ben Rubin. Okay.
The question is, why should journalists be beaten by anybody? That's the question.
Is the GJA doing enough in that? Because when it comes to, assault on journalists,
I don't think the society appreciates the value of journalists.
Wow.
That's why police can slap a journalist and go scot-free. And the truth is that people only see the value of journalists when they're in trouble. And sometimes when retired policemen call me and share their stories with me, I just say, okay, well, maybe he didn't know. Maybe he wasn't one of those. Because a lot of people, when they have power, physical power, they abuse journalists who are there to help them. Right? But because they have a bad experience as a journalist and because they have a gun, they think beating you is their way of showing how powerful they are. But their time will also come. A society that values information and truth will never assault a journalist. The truth is that in Ghana, truth is not important to us.
In Ghana?
We don't value truth.
Interesting. Well, lots of messages, like I said, and this one is from Ernest DeGraft. He's founder of the CEO Network, and Ernest says he's listening to you, enjoying it, best of the best. Well, thank you, Ernest DeGraft. And Nash, he's with Holad Life. So Nash says that, great interview, Bola, inspiring and lots of learning. Go for impact, not awards. Bernard Avle, 2018 on StarrChat. So a lot of quotes will come out of this, Bernard. So just, get ready for it. So loads of it coming through. But let's still stay on education and talk about Presec. So you entered Presec which year? Presbyterian boys then, yeah.
96.
96?
Yes.
Tell us about life at Presec then. So on that year.
The truth is that I have 4 brothers. All of them went to Presec and I was the last. Oh. So it wasn't even a question. That was the only school I was going to, just like you and Akraka, right? So, and when you go into the school, they already Fekwin brothers, so they know you. In fact, they expect you to be smarter than you actually are because your brothers did so well. I wasn't as smart. But the truth is, Presec is a good school for 2 reasons. We have very good teachers, and then there's a lot of competition in the class, and we have strong Christian values. So you learn independence very early.
Okay.
You learn that your academic future is in your hands. You have to study hard. So one of the best disciplines I learned was individual study, pacing yourself and finishing the course yourself, because there's massive competition in the class. And we believe in divine providence. So before exams, we pray a lot. We ask God to help us because we are young students and we know that we don't...
Which house?
I was in house 3, Engman House.
What kind of student were you? You had a nickname too?
Aloski.
Aloski?
I don't even know how I got that name. My friend just said my name is Aloski. That's how it became.
And you carried it on throughout?
He said today that shall be your name, and so it became. So Yellow gave me that name.
Yellow. Yeah. All right. So Ohimen is with us at Kasapa. He says I was Bernard Avle's first morning show producer at CTF.
Nana Himen.
Yes. So Ohimen says hi to you. Right. So life at Presec, and then you moved on to University of Ghana.
Yes.
I'll put you on the spot. I think that you should actually sing. I know you have a good voice. We want to hear the anthem.
Oh,
yes.
We need keyboard and things.
You keyboard. Oh, you play the keyboard.
Which anthem?
Don't you have an anthem, a school anthem?
Presec anthem.
Yes.
Make parts.
Sure. So make them proud. Jeff Soa is there.
Let them come and join me. Happy are we studios, are we students of Presbyterian Secondary School. Onward we march, we trudge along to happy victory, to victory, to victory. Our motto is a solid bulwark propping us along. Illuminate to be the be most lumen in the light. You see the part?
Yes.
They will respond.
In the light you shall.
Okay. And then so it's the way the song is asking for Christian training, we get a response. A sure solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country and church. For Christian training, we get a sure solid foundation to take our places in the future of our country. Oh, come along and join us. Oh, come along and join happy studio. Then everything is it's a group song. Wow. It's a choral song.
When are you going back to Presec to talk to the students? I'm looking forward to that.
I'm there on 21st.
Oh, 21st in Presec.
We have something called alumni event where we are sort of going back to speak to the students. So I'll be there with some alumni to give back. Last year I was there. We have to go back. Memories of
Presec. I mean, great memories. What do you want to share with us?
Too many. We had a teacher called Mr. Dompre. He's an amazing math teacher. Everybody went to Presec between 95 and 2000 and something. Remember Mr. Dompre? He was a math teacher. He was a great Krife man. He would pray for us. He would lash you good well. He would teach you properly. He had tough love. He strengthened a lot of us. And we had Mr. Kote, the best geography teacher in the world.
Really?
Ni Amon Kote.
He's still around?
I wish I could get him. He's around. Ni Amon Kote. I mean, Kote is just too much. Mr. Kote, you can meet him and say, Charlie, it's 1 month to exam, and we want you to help us with Barkan and sand dunes. Do you have, is the class set? Where's the chalk? Agbena. He will give you the diagrams. He was fantastic. You know, we had some solid economics teachers and all these people. So Presec teachers were just awesome. And we used to do attribution and things.
Oh, really? So you had that at
we used to enjoy
Presec as well?
Yeah.
So when they would bring their cars and screech and do all of that, attribution they call it?
Oh, Charlie. Attribution Fest. Attribution Festival.
All right, so let's get to meet the family. But before that, Brother Emmanuel here with us at StarrFM says, great chat as always. Bernardino Avle, you're a big man. Congrats to him from me. So it's from Brother Emmanuel.
Brother Emmanuel.
Yes.
He's a big man.
He's a big man.
It's not big.
Big.
B-E-E-G.
Okay. And Lord Prince Minka as well.
The Minkster.
Yes. Minka says hi to you.
The Minkster.
Says you are a good goalkeeper. Is that right?
I used to be called Peter Shilton in Medina.
So why didn't you actually, follow that through?
Goalkeeping.
Yes.
Charlie, in Ghana, football is hard. The away was too much.
I have something to share. I hear, something happened and you had to cry, you go home crying to your mom and all of that. And there was a day, I don't think it was, there was a day we played football and I passed out. Yeah, we were playing football and I think my head hit somebody or something. Oh, really? Is that what happened?
Yeah, and there was another day too, somebody hit a ball to hit my stomach and I sort of, I don't know.
Because I hear you were sent to deliver a letter to at the Queen, Medina Queen of Peace.
Oh, that incident.
Yes, Catholic Church.
Yeah.
And on your way back, you were watching soccer at
and
the local school park.
And then
what
somebody.
happened?
So I was standing at. This is actually the Queen of Peace. I was at my Catholic Queen of Peace.
Okay.
And they were playing a match, and somebody hit the ball and it hit my stomach. I was standing behind the goalpost. I was like 10 years old.
A thunderous shot.
And they said Kofi. Yeah, and my mother was so angry.
So you report same to your mom. You told her what happened.
I narrated the whole. She was so upset. I don't know whether she went back to the place, but she was very angry.
Wow. Yeah. Hello, mommy. How are you? Good evening. Hello, Auntie Julia. Are you there? Hello, mom. So we're trying to raise your mom is on the line.
Where did you get there from?
No problem. Don't worry. That's us. Hello, Madam Julia. Hello. Well, I think that we'll try and raise her.
Doomso.
Tell us about your family. Yeah. So your dad.
Well, actually, I'm a bad man.
Oh.
So my parents are Mr. S.K. Avle, who is a demographer, and he used to teach at the University of Ghana Medical School, Regional Institute of Population Studies. And my mom used to work in the Ghana Postal Service. And we are 8.
8?
We are 8 kids, yes, wow. 8 children. So my mom and my dad, they taught us the straight and narrow. Yeah.
And you're the last?
I'm the 7th of the 8th. Can't mess around. Can't mess around at all.
You can't mess around at all. Hello, good evening, mommy. How are you doing, Davy? The mother of Bernard Avle. Auntie Julia, how are you? Fantastic. We're celebrating your son here on Star FM. What do you want to tell us about Bernard Avle, Mom? Oh. Right. Wow. So when he said to you that he actually wants to do radio. Hello, Mom, can you hear me? When he said to you that he wants to get into radio. Okay, but can you hear me, please? They won't hear you. You have to lower or turn it down. They won't hear you from the radio, Mom. Are we okay? So you can hear me. Use your phone. Yes, thank you. I was asking, when Bernard told you that he wants to get into radio, what was your reaction, Mom?
He was working with the radio unit.
Correct.
And I thought that was doing good because I was at the office one day and somebody brought a pamphlet they are written about him. And what he had done, they were praising him. In fact, it was one of my staff who brought it to me. And when I read the thing, I got to know that he's doing well. So I was happy with what he was doing. Some young men came to my office because I was in a crowd of football. I was a head there. And they were discussing something. They were laughing like this people are making CCFM. So I said something. I told them that by 10 years' time, CCFM will overtake Joy. They were laughing. The boys were enjoying. I didn't know that. And now it was a pro-life
prophecy. Prophetic mommy. So you had the patience to wait and see your boy go from a boy to a man. So now that he's married and he's not, you know, really under your care and all of that, I know you miss him. How is it like with Bernard not around you and all of that? The seventh of your lovely kids. What is it like without Bernard at home? The boy that you yes, exactly.
I talked to him and he doesn't neglect it.
Okay.
He's so committed, and he's very good. So he's with me or not?
He has a nickname. What's your pet name for Bernard? Any name that your pet name? What's any nickname for Bernard?
A very nickname.
Yes, any nickname.
The police and the brother call him
Aloski. Okay.
It's called Aloski.
Good to know, Mom, and we thank you for giving us Bernard Avle. Today, we want you to bless him on radio. What are your parting words? What do you want to say to him? What is it? Yes.
Protect him. And as he's humble, he continues to be like that. And many doors will be open to him.
Amen. Amen.
Great doors will be open to him.
Fantastic.
Good.
Auntie Julia, exactly. Thank you.
That be open to that. No one can close it. That.
You believe that?
Any wicked, like anything, God says, the Bible says that he lose the millions of the king. So any evil thing that is against him, God will just break. Shut up, brass. So.
We receive it.
Amen.
Thank you. Amen. Bernard says amen. Thank you. Auntie Julia, thank you. Oh, isn't that lovely? Bernard, that is Mom.
You're a bad man. Where did you find it? Where did you get
Oh,
the
no.
number?
Your mom is my friend, don't worry. Bernard, that's a great mom you have as well. She believed in the dream.
I tell you.
Says, oh, hold on. My son will go places. And here we are.
I always say that mothers teach different things than fathers. My father taught me wisdom and the word. My mother taught me prayer and faith. So it's a very good equation. So my concept of God, I got it from my mom. And then my appreciation of knowledge and wisdom came from my father. So they sort of played the dual role in my life. So Mr. S.K. Avle, Mrs. Julia Avle, their names are written in heaven.
Wow.
Powerful.
Wow.
Solid guys.
We love that. And your wife, you're married. You've been married for how many years?
Oh, 7 years.
Oh, 7 years. How many children?
3.
Oh, you have 3 in 7 years.
I tell you.
Wow, more to come.
The race is not for the swift.
Oh, but morning show, you still have time.
Charlie,
Ah,
the Lord is good.
all the time.
I tell you. I have 3 kids.
You have 3 kids.
Yes, I do.
Wow.
3
So,
kids.
yes, anyone really, I mean, out there wants to take after you. What do you discuss with the family? When you meet up with them, the kids? What is it that you're telling them from daddy? I know you're busy. You're
My
out
kids
there.
are very young, so I'm just daddy. They don't even know this whole.
Oh, first one is how?
5.
Oh, 5.
So he knows what I do and all of that, but it's sort of, it hasn't registered it. When I come home, sit down, let's play, give me your phone type thing.
What kind of father are you?
I think you should ask my kids and my wife.
Yeah, but for you, how do you see yourself? I mean,
I look, I am trying. I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be a good father who's available, who's around, who leads by example.
right.
It's not very easy. You know this for yourself. The kind of work we do.
Yeah.
So when I'm home. I play with them. I try and help them do homework and stuff. It's not very easy. My wife supports a lot. She's actually, if it wasn't for her, I couldn't get this far.
Really?
Oh yeah, because if you don't have a strong, sensible person who manages everything, including your life, you can't achieve anything. So she's the sort of the second factor in the equation that makes me work.
How did you meet her and where?
Oh, we met on campus at a program Yalpebi organized. So the same Yalpebi book you were reading, Yalpebi is very interesting in our story. So he organized a program at Legon and I met her at the program. She wasn't even in Legon, but we met at that event. And I think we share a passion for knowledge, we share a passion for youth development, we share a passion for impacting other people. So we were both drawn to Yalpebi because he's such a natural mentor.
That's right.
So we both read his books, my wife used to go to even the hard group and that kind of thing. So that's where I met her.
Okay, we'll be getting to the messages and all of that and go for a commercial break as well. But before that, in terms of deliverables, has the Akufo-Addo government met your expectation?
I don't know. I think they've done some good things. There are things they can improve, and there are things they aren't doing well. But I think in analyzing them, you can group it in certain things that have been well done. I remember a year ago I was at an event and he asked me to analyze the government, and I analyzed the things I thought were good. Free SHS is a great thing. One village, one dam is good. One distribution factory is great. There are certain things I think they think they are good, but I feel probably they'll realize that it's not as important as they think.
Like?
Oh, I'm not too sure about the region division thing. I think you need to take on a region by region basis. Some regions probably need it. Other regions, I'm not sure. I think that voting for local government is very important, but they need to explain it properly to the people.
Cathedral?
I actually think that I think that even the cathedral issue, even look, that I don't know. It's, you see that there are some things that are nice, but they are not important. All right, and the Bible is very clear. It says all things are what's the word they use? All things, and it's in fact not even all things. Some things can be good, but not all things are expedient. So it's a question of judgment. All right, so it's not an either or. The question is that, is this the best time to do it, using the resources, looking at the problems we have? I don't know. It's I think if Christians want a cathedral, they can build it and pay for it.
Wow.
Yeah, we can.
So it shouldn't be government's business.
Well, they can build it and say, this is our cathedral. So if you want to do a program for us, use it.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily think it should be
government-led.
Necessarily, I don't think it should be.
Who's your best performing minister thus far?
It's too difficult a question to answer, and it's subject to too much interpretation.
But I mean, you know, if you can give us 2 or 3 and say that, well, these ministries or ministers are doing so well. I know it's a collective effort for some.
What you need is a framework for analyzing. So, for example, there are ministers who are very good with media,
right?
Because their ministries are public facing. There are ministers who are implementing long-term strategic things.
Okay.
There are ministers who are firefighting and solving problems they inherited.
The background, so okay.
Yeah, so if you say this guy is my best minister, you are not being fair. So what you need to do is come up with a framework and say
railway ministry. I mean, let's look at the work that Joe Gatti is doing. For me,
you want to railroad me with the railroad ministry. I'm telling you, I'm answering.
I know, but so far, how would you? Yeah.
I'm saying, for example, if you look at what happened with Galamsey and what people like Amewu and Frimpong Boateng did, clearly within that period they did very well.
Okay.
Do you understand? So you need to take it. If you take education, free SHS and how they started it, you can say with the way Napo has handled it, he's done well. All right.
Has he done well?
He doesn't do as much media, but I think in the way he's managed free SHS and even the double track, he's done creditably.
Has Amewu done well?
Oh, you're not listening to me.
I am. I know you want to put.
No, I'm saying that if you look at Amewu and when he was at land,
right?
Obviously, he did well.
With Galamsey.
I mean, the man traveled across the whole country. He literally took it like a crusade, and he's handed it over to his Frimpong Boateng at, and he's also doing. So my point is, you need to have a proper framework for analyzing.
Do you think that ministers who are, will go ahead and engage the media quite often, in the minds of people feel that, well, maybe they're doing well because they're able to.
You see, again, I'm saying that, for example, if you're an information minister, your job is to engage media.
Right.
There are certain ministries who have no business talking to media every day. Especially when they have targets to meet and they haven't done it.
Like monetary and evaluation.
No, that's different. That depends on, Bola, no. My point is that there are ministries which are public facing.
Yeah.
Because they deal with people's needs on a daily basis. Okay. There are ministries that do structural things that are more strategic. So you don't analyze all of them using the same prism. That's what I'm saying, that you have to come up with a framework. And I have a framework I submitted to CDD. Okay. They asked me to write something about the first 1 year of the government, and I gave parameters
breakdown, so
that you can properly contextualize the analysis. I don't just come on there and say this minister, because he likes media, is doing well. That's not how you analyze anything. It's a very weak.
So for Hawa Kumsin, special initiatives, and this morning she's been in the news, of course, all day and all of that. I presume you know that and all of that. Your boss used to, Samens was out there, of course, coastal development. Yeah. How did you feel when Samens accepted a job in government?
You see,
how did it come to you?
We all have our internal compass that directs what we do. So you can't sit somewhere and say because somebody, on the basis of where he's reached and what is achieved, wants to contribute in a certain way to government, you cannot begrudge him for that. And at the time he took the position, and even as at now, he had very clear intention of what he wanted to achieve and what he wanted to do, because it was, trust me, you may not believe that all we do in media is because we want the country to be better, right? So I couldn't begrudge him for taking that role at the time he took it, and I can't begrudge him for
Did this resignation, come to you, or maybe it was discussed so you were okay with it?
Look, I know Samex more than most people, so before most things happen, I knew. And it's not necessary to share everything you know with somebody to the public. But the truth is that the decision he took to accept the job, I support it. And the decision he took to resign, I support it.
Wow. Wow. You have sympathies for any political party in Ghana?
I sympathize with politicians because they promise so much and can achieve so little. So we need to help them to achieve more by holding their feet to the fire and tracking their performance. We also need to clog our space, not just with politicians, with other voices, so that we can develop more holistically. As for political party and sympathy, I think we very soon, and I'm predicting this for you, it will shock you that a lot of the resentment in the system, when you see Adenta, is not NDC or MPP, it's about the establishment.
Wow. So
we should think more about what our political class have delivered to us, and how we can get the political system we run to deliver better for our citizens. It's much richer that way than simply saying I like NDC.
Political,
like NPP,
okay.
or TPP.
So for you, that is not it.
Because my Ghana is more important. Ghana is more important, and I've lived in a country which has been ruled by both NDC and MPP.
Right.
And some of the problems are so structurally deep, we haven't been able to change them. So why should I come and sit here and say I like this party or that party? No, we have bigger issues. Some will support, which is great. But what I do, I don't even have the space for that.
So you don't belong and say, well, you sympathize with MPP or NDC. No,
my sympathy is for the country. If you seriously sympathize for your country, why is it a child to be sympathized? Why is NDC or MPP a baby that will sympathize for what?
No. So
they have to work to develop the country.
Okay.
So why do I need sympathy?
So it's Ghana first. If Information Minister Kojo Oponkuma says that it's okay for a journalist to hold a party card whilst practicing, do you agree with it?
That's his view.
What is your view?
On what?
A journalist holding a party card while still practicing.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it.
You see, people judge you by your fruits, not by
your
your
professional.
So listen to him. Is he objective? Watch what he does. Is he doing it properly? Is he being fair? If he does that, whether he holds CPP, UPP, that's not the problem.
So you're okay with that as well?
I have no problem with that. Although I don't own one.
I was coming to that.
I don't have a party card.
You don't?
No.
Have you been?
I have a voter.
Have you ever been tagged to belong to maybe the NDC at the point because people thought you were hitting hard, on the MPP? So, oh, come on, this guy, and where he comes from and everything, so he's an NDC guy. Or maybe where he works and who owns his station and who's behind it, so he's MPP. Do you get that?
It's my back case. The people who I've interviewed know where I stand. So you can call all the political people I've interviewed from NDC, MPP, CPP and ask them where I belong. There are two things. You have to be fair but firm. Respect everybody but fear no one. That's the principle. Whether you are whoever,
respect everybody but fear no one.
Be fair but firm. If you do that, you'll be happy. That's all. We don't care what party you belong to. Ghana is more important.
And again, before I go for the break, Kojo has been Deputy Information Minister and now Substantive Minister of Information. Are you impressed with his performance thus far?
Oh yes, I think it's done well. I think it's because it's information and because it's media, we deal with him every day. I think he's not disgraced as journalists.
Like that.
He's not disgraced. He's carried on well from when Hamid left.
And the engagements with the media. And
oh yes, I think it's done well. I think
is journalism also getting better now or going down in terms of quality from your assessment?
It depends how you look at it. In certain senses, you are having richer media experience with new media. You're having all the creative ways in which we communicate. We're having a lot of depth in our reportage because of the competition. But also, there's a lot of poor ownership that just doesn't train people properly. So for every good one, there's also one or two bad ones. Wow. So it's a mixed bag.
Interesting, and over 108 messages now on my message board as we go for the commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about how well you know Ghana. We'll talk about some issues, and your interests. I don't know what songs you love to listen to, and we'll get into some other business.
Well, you are too much.
I did for you. So with time, we did some 15 minutes after 8. We'll be right back. This is StarrChat. My name is Bola, and my guest is Bernard Avle of CTFM.
Bringing you the true definition of contemporary radio.
I'm blessed. I don't be bad.
You don't push me into areas, but I just you want to push me.
Oh no.
No, but you are.
I'm there for you, boss.
You have a lot of questions. You know what? You know what about Bola?
What time the show they end?
8:30.
I get TV show 9.
You get TV show 9.
We'll go now.
But Bola is so relentless in his questioning that
Exactly.
he won't let you develop the point. He wants to.
Yeah.
So but you see the way I flow.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to explain myself.
Okay.
But it's fine. It's fine.
Right.
It's fine.
Right. Okay.
Once people are getting like, my mother is calling me.
Yeah, man.
Man. Yeah, when the Bola you open and yabe like okay. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Okay.
A.m. Folks were really enjoying their sleep when 5 thieves descended on the J Street neighborhood. In less than 30 minutes, the operation was complete. No one was spared in the raid. The next morning, chaos everywhere. When theft happens, who will you be? There is the Radima Wu.
Everything is gone. Yay!
There was the Blame the Dog.
Hey, where is the dog? What is it? You seem like you are the owner of the house. You went to
Well,
you can't back.
See what?
No, but is it that it's
Exactly.
Sorry, sir. We are already on our way to assess the damage and process your claim accordingly.
So after this, let me just.
Man, if you leave at 8:30, be cool.
Yeah, we cool. All right.
Star Home Policy makes all the difference. When theft happens,
I mean, make it last, man.
let Star take care of it. Sign up today.
Wait,
Call
I forget.
0302
Then go
606.
to I have some groups here just for
No, play the jingle
send
first.
them
Your
to
solid partner.
WhatsApp, then collect them for here. Then blast them to my groups. I have some different groups. I put it on my
Ordinary
profile.
radio for discerning listeners. Star 103.5 FM.
Simply the best, and a very big thank you going out to Guarantee Trust Bank. Wouldn't you rock the bank with us? Well, thank you very much, GT Bank, and also going out to Star Assurance. Yes, surprises are great, and we have something great from Star Assurance, and also going out to Johnny Walker. Let's take a moment and toast to authentic whiskey. And you know, Johnny Walker, keep walking, taste, and of course, go for the best, unquestionable taste of whiskey. Johnny Walker, the whiskey the world knows best. And also to Trio Security, we're saying a very big thank you. Welcome back. My name is Bola. We're activating the phone lines. Yes, you can join us on 0302-231144 or 0302-231145. And our WhatsApp line is 0268-900-980. That's 0268-900-980. Bernard Avle of CTFM Morning Show. Bernard, welcome back. Oh, you're a big man. So tell us, what kind of music do you unwind with? I mean, you love to listen to, relax, and
So there are two times. So I like gospel music of the various kinds. It's inspiring and rich. But on air, because of what I do, I need music to help me tell the story. So
okay.
All kinds of music help. If you host a morning show, you dabble with reggae, obviously. Sometimes you play some hip hop. You play Heavy D and the Boys.
Who's your favorite hip hop artist?
It depends on my mood, though. So the thing about me is that I'm not such a music purist. I'm not as good at music, so I don't have a lot.
But your top two will be of all time will be for hip hop.
Okay, let me make it easy for you.
Yes.
If I'm ranking musicians, Bob Marley is number 1.
Oh, really?
That one is not a question.
Bob Marley is number 1.
Is street ahead of everybody. He's more than a prophet.
So not Michael Jackson?
No. Michael Jackson, no. He's okay, but Bob Marley is on a different level.
Wow.
He's on
All right, so Alice Aiti of GH1 says that please tell Bernard that he inspires all of us, young journalists. He delivers and presents so naturally, filled with wisdom. We love him. Please tell him not to stop being Bernard Avle. So that's from Alice Aite.
Thank you.
Going out to you, Bernard.
Okay.
All right, so Pakwesi Asari says, Bernard is a great guy. My few years at CDFM with him was awesome. A great pillar indeed. Congratulations to Bernard. So that's from Pakwesi Asari of TV3.
Thank you.
To you. Right, so we've activated the phone lines 0302231144, 0302231145. So yes, reggae music, Bob Marley is your all-time favorite.
Bob Marley is solid.
Any song from Bob Marley?
Oh man, it depends. The albums are too many.
Yeah, so which song?
Positive Vibration is good.
Positive Vibe, okay.
You know, it's Kaya is a great album as well. Legend is always good. You know, even the Zimbabwe, actually too many. Bob Marley is just too good.
Wow, wow. So Bob Marley, we're trying to...
Babylon System is a vampire sucking the blood of the sufferers. Too much.
You should see Bernard. I know many of you are watching on Facebook as well, so the expression on this...
And culture is also good, culture. Yeah,
culture, right? So I can see that you are too.
Hey! Hey! Charlie, this is
Babylon System.
We refuse to be what you wanted us to be. Charlie, too much. No, Bob, too much. What you wanted us to be.
Yes.
So I guess some groups. We are what we are.
That's right.
That's the way it's going to be.
That's the way it's going to be. We refuse to be what?
I tell you.
Captain is on the line as our first caller. Good evening, Captain. How are you? Yes, sir. Oh, you're a bad man, Captain. Captain Bernard Avle is here, please. Aish. Ah. Charlie, you do all. Go ahead. Ben 2018. Charlie, you had your notepad there. People were just scribbling. They were putting it. Charlie, like you said, Bernard Avle is an institution. Period. Big man. Thank you. We'll go to Musa from Medina. Musa, good evening. You're on Star FM and Bernard Avle is our guest. Please, let's hear you.
Too much, too much. You are bigger.
Correct. Rightly so. Right.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Oh, isn't that great? I love it when I celebrate people and, you know, I get comments like this. This is what life should be.
Yes, sir.
Peter T is on the line. Peter, good evening, my brother. Welcome. You're on StarrChat. Ade for cool, my brother. Talk to me.
Peter T. You there? Hi, Charlie. You have migrated.
But yeah. Hey. Thank you, Peter T. I love it. And one thing that you said, fair but firm. That's it. And that's for me, my takeaway for tonight. As we do all of this, yes, we're talking about your music and all of that. Yeah. Any favorite hangouts? Where do you when you are not at work? Where do you normally go? Or
Charlie,
just home?
We just watch football.
Football.
Charlie.
Your team is?
Oh, you know.
Oh, you should tell me.
Liverpool now.
Oh, Liverpool. I thought Manchester United.
Oh, Charlie.
Why? Oh, real. Ejari is our last caller from Legon. Ejari, glad to have you on Star FM. Let's say you, Ejari. Bernard is here. issues, right? And we'd like you to, Jerry from Legon. Thank you. Andrew is on the line as our last caller from Ayesu Estate. I hope I got that one right. Hello, Andrew. Good evening. You're on Star FM. Let's hear you, sir. Correct.
Yeah, I've been told. We will follow up on it.
All right. So, Andrew, thank you very much. And that's Andrew from Ayesu Estate. Thank you. And Judith says, Bolari, great interview. Can you ask him if he's affiliated to the NDC as is being rumored? And that's from Judith. But Avle, the NDC boy. Okay. Well, so in all of this, so talking about the NDC, you've heard of various NDC presidential aspirants, campaign. Any of you impressed so far with their message?
I think they all have different things they offer. The party will think about where they are and what they want to do. Look, Ghana's problem is not lack of competent people. The issue is building the systems that can help us to develop. So we have great people all across.
All across.
Is translating that personal excellence into developing the country. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's the issue.
We need to break that gap. Interesting. So, good evening. Good evening. Hello? Yes, Moro. How are you?
Audu Moro.
Moro Audu. Bernard Avle is here, Moro. Yes. Let's hear you as you end it all for us.
Moro.
To sing.
Oh, Moro.
Somewhere. Somewhere.
It's a problem, Charlie.
But that's an aside. Hey, we're celebrating the man today, and we thank you for getting to us on air. Moro, you have your turn soon as well. But we thank you, Moro. Moro, yes, Moro, I will do. So thank you, Moro. And as we wrap it all up, what do you make of the government's handling of the KNUST pass? I mean,
well, I think it's very clear that going to the Otumfuo was the right thing to do, and we are seeing the fruit of that. So it's good they did that, and you can see the evidence of the wisdom he's showing. How his legitimacy is very clear. He's the chancellor, and he's who he is. So I think
right decision to defer to the Otumfuo to handle.
Absolutely.
Well, it's now time for us to, have it also.
What is this?
Is what we call the mystery question. So we're getting ready for the mystery question. I think that my jingle is not playing, but of course you can actually read it out for us. What is in there?
Who is your favorite media personality in Ghana? You are still looking for a headline from me. Are you not?
So your favorite?
In terms of listening to the person and enjoying them, maybe Kwame Sebakai.
He's dog bottle.
It's easy to listen to him.
Okay.
It's not difficult. I've listened to him since I was in secondary school.
Wow.
Radio Gold.
Wow.
Wednesday, Kaneu.
Wow.
He's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Kwame Sefakai.
He's a man.
After radio, what next for Bernard Avle? Any plans?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
Thought about exiting radio anytime
I'm on
soon?
TV now. I have a
Yeah,
TV,
TV
show
show
in 30 minutes.
in
If you
30
don't
minutes.
let me go now, they will sack me.
We're wrapping it up. So after radio, after media, anything? Are you going back to maybe? Are you considering lecturing? Are you?
I've tried to be teaching. I don't know. I think it's some of it you can do together. You have to give back, so you have to lecture definitely.
Wow.
You have to teach,
Wow.
yes.
Wow.
Because we've learnt on the job, so you have to give back. You have to teach, yes.
Bernard Avle, Kogu, thank you very much.
Bola, it's been a
Pleasure having
Bless
you.
you.
And have a wonderful time. Regards to the family.
Thank you.
And we say keep on keeping on. Stay blessed. But before you go, your favorite Bible verse will be.
Oh Lord. I don't know. Charlie, don't want one.
Thank you, Ghana, for doing the listening. My name is Kwabena. I'm not Chadisi. And to the production team led by Kwame Daso Champion, I say thank you very much. And to Bernard Avle, have a wonderful time. John Jimenez is up next. Good evening, Ghana. Thank you. We're out. Thank you.